It's simple, really. Great stories with a good cup of tea. It's the Tea with Mike show. Welcome to this episode of Tea with Mike featuring Damon Johnson. Come learn all about real estate, social media, content creation, the role Gary Vaynerchuk has played in both of our journeys. And so all that I have left to say is grab a cup of tea, sit back, and enjoy. Alright, let's start. Alright guys, welcome to episode number 95 of the Tea with Mike show. It's crazy to think that we're at episode 95 already, and I'm super excited to welcome to the show today Damon Johnson. Welcome to Tea with Mike, Damon.
Thanks. Welcome for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be number 95. I can't wait to see who's going to be 100. I wish I was 100, but it's okay. 95 will be one of the best episodes ever.
Yeah, let's make it happen. So obviously, welcome to the show. Let's start like really easy. Where do you call home, and is this where you grew up?
Home for me is Bloomfield, Michigan. I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan, which is about 10 minutes away from where I live at now. So yeah, I'm pretty close to where I grew up and where I went to school at. So I still see a lot of the same people I went to school with. A lot of most of my family is here in Michigan. So yeah, it's really, I see a lot of people. I grew up with my families here. So yeah, I've only moved away when I went to college. When I came back home, I moved back home. So right. Yeah, college was the only time I moved away from home.
And is that something that you like and are comfortable with? Do you like a little bit of familiarity, like similar surroundings with your family and friends?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like to travel. I haven't traveled this year much. Right. I travel a little bit for work. But yeah, I like the familiarity of it, knowing where everything is at. I love Michigan because we get all 4 seasons here. My business is based here for now. So I love being here. It really, it's fine to me. I love it.
Fantastic. And let's talk a little bit about Damon as a young child. What were some of your favorite subjects in school, and what were some of the things you like to do when you weren't in school, like in the holidays and that type of thing?
For me in school, I loved spelling. I loved school. Really, it was a different time. We were really innocent. We got a computer. I remember this vividly. I was in an advanced class in 5th grade, and we were the only class to get a computer. It was an Apple, and this had to have been about, I'm old, so this was about 1984, 85-ish. Okay. And we all looked at it like, what in the teacher went through it with us, and we were all very nervous. So I really loved school. Outside of school, I loved cartoons. And you have to remember, I grew up in the 80s, so it was like cartoons and comic books were the thing. I was more of a nerd, and it wasn't cool to be a nerd back then.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like it is now, where Marvel wasn't like a thing. It was like a little bitty thing. It was like, oh, those nerds and those comic books and those action figures and things like that. So it wasn't like a thing to get paid for video games and knowing all the latest characters. It wasn't a thing, but I still was into it. So I really loved school. No problem in school at all. I liked playing outside. We had a huge backyard when I grew up.
Oh, nice.
So we would go sledding, bike riding, cross-country skiing. We had like a big field the neighborhood I grew up in, the school had like a huge lot. It was like on a forest, kind of.
Oh, cool.
And so we go cross-country skiing and roller skating. We just I really had a great time growing up. So funny that the group of kids that I grew up with, since it was a neighborhood school, we ended up some of us were in school the whole 12 years together.
Nice. That's cool.
So, and a couple of the girls that I went to school with, we ended up going to college together. So we always was a joke that we can't get away from each other. It's like 3 or 4 of us who ended up going to the same college. So it was always funny. And it's so funny. The preschool that I went to was in the same neighborhood. So some of us have been together for 20 plus years. So very tight knit neighborhood. Yeah, I had a great time growing up. I played a lot. I read a lot. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I wish I could go back. But yeah, I had a great time. But yeah, when that computer first came out, we were looking like the computer and cable. I remember when we first got cable, we were like, oh, there's another, because we really only grew up with 6 channels on TV. It's really like
Okay.
6. And so when we got cable, it was like, oh, because when I was growing up, the TV automatically shut itself off at midnight.
Oh, wow.
Like, it would play the Pledge of Allegiance here in the States, and then it went off. There was no like TV past
24/7,
midnight,
yeah.
1 o'clock. It shut us, like it went to static. So when cable first came out, people were like, oh, this is a thing. So yeah, so growing up for me was absolutely great. I wish I could go back, but I can't. So here we are.
Awesome. Fantastic. And then, so you mentioned that you like really enjoyed education.
Yes.
Were there any particular things that stood out for you, or was it more like general and a bit of an overview?
I think because I knew that our teachers really cared about us. It was a diverse group of us. Our school was definitely mixed in ethnicities. We, like I go into with a neighborhood school, so everybody, it was more like a family feel to it.
Right.
The teachers and the principals really cared about your grades, and they knew your family, and it was more of like a community because the city wasn't like so huge.
Oh,
So
okay.
everybody kind of knew everybody. So it was kind of like the typical schools you would see on TV where everybody knew everybody, and here we go, which helped. Yeah, I really liked school. I don't know if it was one thing that stood out to me. I maybe it's like the routine of it, or just I was really good at school, which I guess helped because if you really weren't good at school, you probably wouldn't like it. But when I figured out, well, my parents told me, well, I wasn't that good at math. Still, I'm not really good at math. And they would tell me, school is just really memorization, Damon. If you have a great memory. So my memory was such that I was like, oh, they were like, well, you don't have to understand this math. Just memorize the formula because you won't you won't ever use this. So once I figured out how to just memorize it for class, everything was fine. So for me, when I was a school teacher, I would tell my kids, a lot of this you aren't going to use. So here we are. If you memorize this for the day or for the test, or just get some general understanding of it, you'll be fine. You'll pass. I try not to stress my students out because school can be stressful for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So I try to create an environment in my classroom of, learning, nurturing, not being afraid to get the wrong answer. I tell them I stunk at math when I was at school. So don't think that you have to be great at everything because I wasn't. That math for me, I still use my calculator, even for simple things. I'll whip that phone out in a second, like, wow, here we go. And so, yeah, so it was great.
Nice, cool. And let's just go back a second. And so, what really inspired you to study education at university?
I think just knowing what some of my teachers had did for me and how nice and caring they were. I was like, I should be a teacher because I really didn't decide until my second year at college. I was like, I don't know. And my parents were like, whatever you want to do, we'll support you. So I didn't get my education degree until after college because in college I got my first degree is sociology and criminal justice. I was going to be a social worker because I wanted to help people. But I got to the job and I kind of didn't like it. I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. So I went back and got my certificate in education and started teaching. I think my first class was 3rd grade. So I had elementary for a number of years. And then I went to the high school. And then I went back to elementary. And then I worked at a huge mortgage company here fell in love with real estate, and the rest is history.
That's right. And then so, what was one important thing that you kind of learned in university specifically that prepared you for life as a classroom teacher?
Being able to handle things when everything doesn't go your way or outside things that aren't in your control, being able to, to be prepared. University really helped me to be more prepared, more like have a solution, have a couple of solutions that just in case. It was the first time I was on my own in a dorm. I was like, oh, how is this going to work? I didn't know. You know what I mean? You just don't know.
Right.
So I think it prepared me in being able to take care of myself in a way, to be more self-sufficient. It like grew me up so I wouldn't be like a baby, kind of. Like it kind of forces you like to be in a young adult to, set your own, because you're on your own schedule, really. I mean, you have classes, but you kind of have to set your schedule for homework and socializing.
Yeah, it's a very small percentage of the day if you actually break it down, like the classes.
Yeah, class will be over in a few hours, and then you'll be like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah,
So I kind of have to set,
like, what do I do?
yeah, what do I do? And I knew that I was going to graduate, so I was like, listen, I got to study. I have to, have fun, but I have to focus on class too, because you don't want to embarrass your family and not graduate. So
Nice. And then, what was the most challenging thing about being a teacher?
oh goodness, probably it would be a mix of kids where some students were super bright and you could leave them to do whatever. But it'll be some students who would be looking at you like, I have no clue what's going on. And you would be like, uh-oh, what do I do with you? Trying to figure out what to do with the kids who kind of they were supposed to be, or trying to figure out how to get them to come out of their shell. Not that their shell wasn't okay. It's okay to be in your shell, but honey, you got to read this book. Because some of them will be looking like, I don't know how to do this. You kind of have to scaffold them up and build them up to where they need to be. So having a mix of abilities in a class where, and I look back on it now when I was a student, like, this is what our teachers really went through. Because some of us were, because we're not part of the smart group, and then you have the not so academically smart group. So as a teacher, I try to do my best to work with all groups to kind of mix it up a little bit, to have some activities where that weren't like book related, to have some real world activities, a lot of field trips, a lot of hands-on things, so everybody got a chance to be successful. So yeah, just trying to find that balance of actual book and actual real world stuff, because I would tell them, especially when I had the older kids, I would tell them, hey, knowing this history is great, but knowing how to pay your light bill is great too. Let me show you how to do both.
Right. Definitely something that the teaching needs to go towards, all these like practical things, right?
Yes, I didn't get in I was part of probably the last generation over here to get the home ec, we had a class called Life Skills Home Ec, where they would teach you, how to be on your own, how to order food, how to book your doctor's appointments, because a lot of these kids don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm like, the internet doesn't do everything for you. You still have to call into some places.
Talk to people, yes.
Yeah, and talk to people. Everything isn't online yet, so you still have to. I booked an appointment. I went to the doctor maybe like a month or so ago, and it was so funny. I thought about it. I was like, you still have to call, you still have to book, you still have to take your insurance card in. I had to go to another doctor, and you still have to sit and wait. And yeah, just teaching people in general that everything isn't based on the internet. You still have to sometimes sit in the office and wait. You still have to busy yourself with a magazine or your phone or whatever and wait. And the scheduling came to play because I took the whole day. I didn't do anything in real estate that day because I didn't know how long it was going to be. Yeah. So everything kind of that I've learned, I use now in some form or fashion. I try to use now to make my day a little easier. Like today, I knew this was important because I do my blog myself, so I know when as a host and a guest, I try not to book things like right on top of each other.
No.
Like when I knew I was coming here, I was like, I'm not going to the office today. I'll work from home. So that way I won't have to rush. So before this call, I didn't answer any emails and I didn't send any out. I was like, nope, I want to focus, because I think that's what people forget about sometimes, that you have to kind of focus, because this is how people this is how people earn their living. They just, can you still see me?
Yeah.
I don't know why okay, there we go. My cord is acting funny. Yeah, it's like you have to plan your day to be respectful of other people's time, their ability, their show, their blog article. Because I get a lot of requests sometimes, and I'll tell people, I'll look at my calendar and I go, I don't know if this is going to work, or this will work. Let me juggle some things around. So yeah, just being respectful, learning, using everything that I have to, try to have a good day.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that's starting to happening to me more and more as I become more established and more
Yes.
people get to know about me. I'm starting to get a bit like you, and more podcast requests, more questions about this, and then so I'm really having to look at each thing individually, and is this gonna help both parties? Is this really what I'm interested in? Do I want to build that relationship with that particular person? Sometimes I say yes. Sometimes I'm like, you know what, I don't think it's gonna work, but good luck in whatever you're doing. And it can get quite tricky sometimes.
Yes, because I'll go and I'll look at people, like I booked a show with this one guy and he canceled at the last second and it was his show. And I was like today, I stayed home. I was like, okay, here we go. And like an hour before, I emailed him because he sent the link. And he was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I was like, because it was one of those shows, not saying I'm so high up,
yeah,
but it was me doing him a favor. It wasn't going to help me. It was going to help him to have me on. And so, I mean, I don't, but I knew, I was like, well, I just can't do your show anymore. I was like, so I've seen him on, online, and he's apologized, and I get it, but it was just like, you have to be respectful of people's time. If you think that something else is going on, I mean, I know life happens, but it's just like, I was sitting in my laptop like on the day, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this isn't gonna happen. It was all right. But yeah, you get the requests, you get the questions, and oh boy, I get a lot. And I just sit there and look like, who are these people? I just like, who is this? I don't know who this is. And yeah, so I try to do as many as I can. Like you said, I try to do the ones where I think I'm going to help. That'll be a help to me to build those relationships, because relationships are everything.
Yeah, especially in the world we're moving towards, for sure.
Yeah, the relationships are everything, especially now where you can't really go out and do the face-to-face meetings. The relationships that you build online are I know I have some relationships that are priceless. I have some people, like when you send this link out, I already have people that are like, oh damn, I'm gonna retweet that all day. And I'm like, great, thanks. I have a core group of support that will retweet anything, will share out anything from you on Facebook, and I'll do the same for them. But it's really strange. It's like once you have that group, it took me a minute to get that group. Once you have that group, the sky's the limit. So yeah, I try to.
It's exciting, but like you're saying, it definitely takes patience, consistency, authenticity, and that's what I'm trying to do more now. Before I even respond to a message, take that extra moment and research that person's online presence, things that they're putting out, and not just saying yes in the moment.
Yeah, because you have to look to see, are they putting out anything? Are they, serious about their stuff? Are they, it just depends. Yeah, you have to look and see, and sometimes you take a gamble and say yes, and you hope for the best. But sometimes I say no sometimes. I try to say a soft no, like, oh, I'm busy. Can we maybe do it next month?
Right.
Or can we do it in a few weeks? So I feel
Maybe
like
in the future. Yeah. Right.
yeah, if they're serious about me, they'll come back. If not,
Oh,
then
100%.
it kind of wasn't a thing. So
Awesome. And then, so what prompted the kind of like the switch from education into mortgages and then real estate?
it's an interesting story. We as an educator, we went through budgets here, like in '08 when the economy fell apart here in America.
Oh, yes. Okay.
They kept laying us off where we didn't know whether we would have jobs or not, and I was laid off. And so one of my friends had a mortgage company, and he was like, Damon, you should come work with me. I'll show you how to do this. And I was like, when I thought of mortgages, I thought of money, and I was like, oh no, this is
I need a
math.
calculator, right?
Yeah, I was like, this will be math. I'll be no good at this. He said, Damon, you have the personality. You'll be fine. He said, you can't teach somebody personality. You can teach them how to do mortgages. I was like, okay, here we go. I knew I liked real estate and I liked looking at homes. So I was like, this can't be so much different. I learned a ton there. I did marketing there. I did training there. I was on a million teams there. While I was there, so funny, I got my real estate license while I was there. And I ended up needing an assistant. Had never had an assistant before. And I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to work. So he was super young. He may have been like 19 when I hired him.
Okay.
And I told him, I said, I kind of don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'm super busy, so I need an assistant. So it ended up, I was with him yesterday, so funny. He is the person, John Verhagen, I've given his credit. He is the person who first showed me Gary's videos.
Okay.
And so we worked, like, we were like two rows. We were like a row separated us. And so he brought me his phone and he was like, you need to watch this guy's video. And I was like, what? Being typical Damon, I was like, who is this? I saw the video. It was one of his old ones where he was like in New York and he had like a big crowd around him and people were asking him questions. I was like, who the hell is this? And this guy, I'll never forget the question. He was like, this guy owned a company, and he was like, well, my employees aren't working as hard as I would like them to. What should I do?
Right.
And Gary was like, well, shit, it's your company. You work harder than everybody else. Watch they work. They don't care. It's your company. It's not their company.
Yes.
And I sat there and I was like, I had never heard any, people usually give the typical answer of, build the teamwork and let's all do it together. I had never heard anybody give that answer like, this is your damn company. You do the work. And so I was like, so it was just the rest from that point on was like history. I became a fanatic. I still stayed at the company because I knew I needed to learn some more to get myself better at real estate, because working in mortgages has helped me with real estate, because with my clients now, I can tell them how much they're going to pay, what to do, what not to do in order for it to be like a very smooth transition. So, and I didn't burn that bridge. That relationship with that company has helped me now.
I bet.
Yeah, so I'm doing a loan with them now, matter of fact. Isn't that weird? So yeah, being in mortgages really opened that was my first corporate America job. I had never worked in corporate before. I went right from university to education. So I had never I never wore a suit to work, and I was like, oh, this is like a thing. So it really helped me with my business now. It really, really did. I met so many people and I learned, oh my God, I learned a ton of stuff that that I use now is just the education was priceless while I was there.
Awesome. So really the skills, the networking, like it was a really good foundational like step for kind of like more what you're doing today. But then also it made you more knowledgeable, right? In the fact that like even when you're doing real estate, like you said, you're still dealing with mortgages and numbers, and you still need to, even if you're only one part of the system, like you're gonna get more clients and build better relationships if you can talk a little bit about all the different areas, right?
Yes, it really helped because the mortgage process can be difficult. Some people are scared of it. It's really not so bad. It takes about 30 days or less now. But people just don't know. And it's okay. I tell my clients, it's okay if you not to know. That's what you're paying me for, to know, so that I can better do my job and meet you. It's just like it's just like teaching. It's just a different teaching where I'm teaching them how to buy a house now. Instead of me teaching you how to write a paragraph, I'm teaching you now how to buy your home or how to sell your home. So it's still teaching. And so the mortgage part of it really helped me. And I will always be thankful to them for everybody, really taking me under their wing and showing me. Because when I got there, I was old. In the mortgage business, I was older. When I got there, I was 35, which is not a spring chicken in mortgages because everybody else was like 20, 22. You know what I mean? They were like your age. They're like very, very young. And so you look around and you're like, uh-oh, I'm old. I'm not old, but I was older than those guys. Right. So I was like, oh, boy, here we go. And so it was a funny story. We got a new desk, and it was the first time I had worked with two monitors at the same time. I was like, I told my IT guy, I was like, oh, I don't need this other one. I thought he made a mistake. He was like, oh, no, Damon, everybody has two. And I was like, I asked the lady next to me, what do I do with the other one? She was like, I'm going to help you, Damon. Here we go. I really didn't know. I felt like one of my students like, well, what is this thing for? Because you don't know. I had never worked in an office before besides education. So for you to get plopped down as a middle-aged guy with two monitors looking back at you, I was like, well, what is that thing for? And I use that story to tell people it's okay not to know. It's okay. People are like, oh, Damon, you're so famous and you make so much money. I'm like, I'm okay. But it's okay. It's a lot of things I don't know. I was looking up yesterday how to stream using StreamYard to use. Yeah. So I'm investigating that. There's something that Flipboard Gary was talking about, this last week. I was researching that today. So it's all, I tell people, you never know everything because something comes out every day something comes out new. So it's okay not to know. I'm constantly reading, researching, talking to young people like yourself who know more than what I do about what's new. Have they used it? What do you think? So, yeah.
That's right. This is an awesome moment to take a brief pause and have a little tea fact.
Oh.
So the tea fact for this particular episode is a tea plant requires between 4 and 12 years to reach a point in its maturity where it can produce the seed, which obviously then leads to making tea, and then obviously to making tea bags, and then obviously it gets distributed and then into the cup that we're drinking, like here. And that comes from factcity.com/factsabouttea.
Nice. I didn't know that. I'll just send you one of my mugs. So I have mugs. Those were the best investment I could have ever made. When I first bought them, I was like, these are how much? But I give them to my clients when they buy their houses or sell their house. When we close, I give them mugs. My clients love them. They always send me using them. So I have to make sure I send you a few mugs out to you. But because when I was first starting, I was like, what do I get these people? I don't know, because everybody doesn't drink wine or, champagne or liquor. I was like, what do you get these people? And I was like, a mug. Everybody loves coffee and tea. So here we go. So, I give them a mug. So I just gave them, I had a closing last Friday. Yeah, last Friday. and they got mugs. Yeah, they were super excited.
And it's really solid choice because then you don't have to you don't upset anyone. Like the majority of
Yes.
people either drink tea or coffee, so it's a really good solid safe choice.
Very, very safe because I don't like to offend anybody. So
Of
I always
course.
usually ask, like, hey, what do you like to drink? Do you like tea, coffee, spirits, beer? What do you like? So I try to get a gist of what they like, but I give everybody the mugs though, because like you said, it won't offend anybody. I've seen my mugs in pictures where I'm like, hey, how did you get that mug? But yeah, it was a super. Yeah, I look back. It's been 2 years since I ordered those mugs. I think I need to order. I'm down to my last box, I think.
Oh, nice. That's good.
Yeah, I ordered a lot, and at first I was like, was this a good idea? Because I didn't want pens. I
Yeah.
didn't want the typical the notepads, the mag. I was like, I want something they'll have,
And
they'll be able
you.
to use. Yeah, that'll make sense. So I went with the mugs, and it's been great.
Awesome. And then, so just going back to the mortgage company for a second that you were working at, it's my understanding that you had quite a bit of success moving your way up the ranks to a team leader and account executive, for the company. So did you find that we talked about it a little bit, but just want to dive a little deeper. Did you find that any of the skills that you developed when you were a teacher, did they help you? And if so, what were
Yes,
the specific skills that helped you?
talking, the being able to talk to people because we were constantly, as an account executive, you were constantly on the phone, multitasking, typing, talking to my boss, people who were under me, talking to people across to me, because we were headsets. So
Oh
you
yeah.
would flip your headset microphone up and be talking to this person and looking at this person and doing it. So being able to multitask as a teacher definitely helped me being an account executive at the mortgage company. Being able to speak clearly, have that booming voice, not be in my shell, because sales is not for the shy people. It is not. So being able to talk to clients who aren't in your face. We were talk like we're doing now. We would talk over video chat or, email or the phone. Being able to construct a sentence that made sense because sometimes you get emails from clients. I still do sometimes where you're like, what in the world are they asking me? And so
Yes.
I'm like, you know
Because they
what?
don't know the language. Yes.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
like, let me call you because I always, not say blame myself, I always put the fault on me where I go, oh, you know what? I think I'm misunderstanding. Are you free for a call in a half hour or an hour? That's how I frame all my stuff out
Smart.
because in business, emails can be interpreted any type of way.
Correct.
I was working with a loan officer on a deal that I'm doing now, and she emailed me, and I was like, "What did she say?" And I read it wrong. I read it like, "Are you kidding me?" And so when I called her, I was like, Damon, don't have an attitude. I think you read it wrong. We laughed, we talked, we got the issue resolved. Sometimes that phone in business is the best thing. I wouldn't say the best thing, but for me, sometimes those emails out, and then sometimes in business, you'll see once you get to be crazy busy, they will put 10 people on one email and everybody's saying something,
Yeah.
and you're looking like, I don't even know why I'm still on this email or what the original, issue was, or was it even an issue? Let me call Mike and let's just clear this up. Like, hey Mike, what time am I supposed to be on this show today? Or hey Mike, did you get the mugs I sent? Because sometimes you get an email and you'll be like, oh no. So the being able to talk to people, being able to, and to also not be afraid of being on camera, because we had to do video calls a lot as an account executive, and people there would be like, I don't want to be on camera. And I would be like, I think I'm handsome. I'll be on this camera. I don't care. Because in the back of my mind, I knew that I was going to be on social heavy. I was like, this is going to help me on social. Here we go.
Right.
And so I smiled and I read my notes and I talked and there I was. So it helped me to move up faster than a lot of people because I wasn't shy on camera. I'm not a shy person anyway. I wasn't shy on camera, and I still use the same philosophy over to my clients. hey, I don't know. Let me ask somebody who does, or let me find the answer for you. Because mortgages, sometimes they would ask you things, you'll be like, what the hell is he talking about? I have no clue what he's talking about. But I would tell him, like, I've never heard that. Not to say you aren't right. Let me find out from my boss if we can do that. Let me call you back. But I would just let them know that, hey, I know a lot. I've never heard of that. Or I'm not sure about that. So just letting people know that you're working on it, that you aren't dodging their calls or emails. And I try to do that now. Probably the most important thing that I took from mortgages from my training is that we call it the SLA, your service level agreement. I used to, when people would email me or leave messages, I would call you back the next day. Like, it's all right. No, you have to call back within 2 to 3 hours. Even if it's to say, hey, Mike, I got your email, working on it now, we'll call you as soon as I have an answer. Or we'll email you when I have an answer.
Oh, okay.
So that's what people say, oh, Damon, you always call same day or right back. And I go, the secret behind it is, my manager taught me, get them out of your court. We called it tennis. Get that ball right back in their court. That way they can't say, you never called me back. I didn't know what was going on. I needed the answer. You didn't give it to me. He would be like, Damon, I don't care if you don't know the answer. Tell them you're looking for it. I got your email. I got your voicemail. I'm going to call you back as soon as I have an answer. Or I'm going to email you back as soon as I have an answer. Because I have clients who call now, and I look and I'm like, oh crap, I got an hour left. I try to keep that same 2 to 3 hours, even if it's nothing to say, hey, I got a Zoom chat, I'll be done tonight. Or, hey, I got your email, working on it, we'll shoot you an email back in a little bit. Because people just want to know that you're working on it. They know that, life happens, but the SLA, the service level agreement, really helps me. It helps me to stand out from other realtors, because I reach out to realtors here on the deal. I reach out to a realtor, I'm on the deal now. I still haven't heard back from him. I was like, okay. But not everybody has that same service level agreement, because I try to do 2 to 3 hours as my top. So I try to do no more than 3 hours.
Fantastic, man. What would you say was some of the kind of the new skills that you were? Oh, well, no, let's go past that. What do you enjoy the most about being a realtor?
Oh, probably working with first-time home buyers when they get the house. When you see the crying, when they cry when they get the house, there's nothing like when they cry. When you see a grown man cry with his family because he finally got that house.
Which isn't easy to do as it used to be, right?
Yeah, it's a little harder now. It's more expensive and it's a little harder. There aren't a lot of homes for sale this year. We've had a lot of buyers, not a lot of houses for them to move into. So it's been kind of, my last few deals have been very contentious, very a battle to get the homes. So watching them get their keys, knowing that they're done, pulling up to the house, and just knowing, I tell myself in my head, I just want to say it out loud, I'm like, this is the one. They don't know it, but I think this is the one. It happened the last 2 houses. We pulled up. I knew it was the one. This other couple liked this other house, and I thought to myself, this is the one. It ended up being the one. And the couple I just closed last week, I knew that house was the one, but they knew it too, because I got there before they did. When they met me there, they were like, Damon, I think this is the house. I think so too. I usually don't try not to jinx and say it. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, I would think this is it. So I like looking at them. I love looking at real estate. Like, you never know what you're going to see behind that door. I've had some doozies where it's like, I've been into some haunted houses. I've been to some houses where we've had to turn around and back out of.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, you just never know. Sometimes you open that door, what's going to be behind it. You're like, this place is a dump. They used fake pictures or what have you. And then sometimes you walk in like, oh my God, we love it. Like, I'm going to buy it myself. You don't want it, I'll take it. So yeah, just the looking, the shopping part of it, the shopping gets me in trouble because I'll go home and I'll be like, I bought a couch myself. I needed a new couch. So you see things in other people's houses and you're like, I want that for my house. Like I went into this one guy's house. I could tell he was a blogger or a podcast. I could tell.
Oh, that's cool.
I took a picture and was like, I'm copying his setup for myself. So I try to do, you can't see my shelves behind me. I try to do my shelves.
I can see them a little bit.
I got,
my podcast purse.
Oh, my prized possession.
Okay. Oh. I didn't know they were a thing.
Yeah, it's not an urban myth. They are. It's a thing. Oh, so special. So I saw his setup, and I was like, cause I was gonna do it different, and I saw he the taller shelves. I was like, I'm gonna do mine taller. So you go into somebody's home, and then you see stuff that you want to do in your own house, so it gets to be expensive sometimes. So I have to tell myself, no, don't buy that. Don't do that. But yeah, I love going into people's houses. I absolutely love it. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's getting the deal right. It's getting your client in that house or selling that house. Finding that, like I just sold a house. Finding the right buyer for the house, getting that deal done. It's a thing, and no two deals are the same.
No.
So you just never know. You try to do your best, and I've had some deals fall apart. I've been fired before from clients. I fired myself from a couple of clients. Like, this is not gonna work. Like, you try, and you're like, I'm gonna fire myself. Just have a chat.
So
like,
sometimes it takes up too much time when you could be closing another deal, right? I'm sure there's always that. Sometimes. Yeah,
it's the juggling where you have to like balance. And you're like, oh, this is. Yeah. So yeah, I've been fired, and it ended up being the best thing. Like, yay! At the time, you're like, oh no, but then I look back on it like, yay! I'm glad you fired me because it let me do something else.
Right. So what do you think is the most important skill to have as a realtor?
Oh. Probably being empathetic and listening, because clients are giving you what they have.
Right.
If they got $10, hold $10. They aren't usually holding anything back. The being able to listen to their needs, their wants, to that way I can make a decision and go, okay, hey, I'm thinking we should look at these 5 houses.
Right.
Or, hey, let's try to cut a deal with these that are not so great of a house, but you want to fix it up anyway. So the listening and being empathetic towards their needs, because sometimes they'll want a castle and you'll be like, honey, you have a beer budget. You can't have that. And then sometimes they want a hobo and you're like, you can afford much more than that. Let's get you a better home.
Yeah.
So the listening part is, because I usually talk to them before we even go out. I usually have 2 meetings with them. One of like a financial type of meeting to be like, hey, this is where your budget is at. Here we go. And then another one to be like, this is what's out here. What do you like about, I'll show them pictures and videos of homes. Like, what do you like about this one? What's wrong with, and I try to ask them, what's wrong with your house you have now? What are you missing out of this house now that you want in the new house? Right. Because sometimes I tell people, it was a thing for me to where everybody wanted a huge dining room. And I tell people, nobody's using that. Like, I walk into people's homes now and they have the dining room as the TV room. Because in my dining room, I think I use it, my family comes over for Christmas brunch. I do it every Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And that's probably my Halloween stuff on the table now. I decorated for the seasons. I've decorated for Christmas. I've decorated for Thanksgiving. But from January to September, it sits there. So it's not like, I don't ever remember I didn't even eat their Christmas. So I tell people, don't get your heart set on something that you're not going to use.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, let's talk about, if your kids are younger, they don't care about a dining room. You using it? Would you rather have a larger basement or a bigger bedroom? So The
Oh, nice
list,
garden. Yeah.
yeah, the listening has really helps me to try to figure out what would be the best home for them, so we don't waste. I don't waste my time. I don't waste their time. I get them the house that really fits their needs.
Fantastic. And then, switching gears for kind of the final part of the conversation today, what inspired you to become a podcaster and a social media content creator?
Oh, Gary, of course. Gary, I could cry. Nobody, I get emotional when I talk about him. And I would hear people say stuff like, when you meet your person, you're going to know. And even when I first saw and listened to him, I was like, I think this might be my person. But I was a little older, so I've been through all the coaches and the rah rah rah, and I was like, this is my person. And so the first time I talked to him on the phone with that K-Swiss phone call, the tears, just crying. Oh, I cried like a baby. When I first met him in person here in Detroit, I I I, I was speechless. You're sitting there and you're like, everybody has the same story. They're like, you get choked, you can't think. And how quick you are, how you're very smart now, you're going to choke when you first see him.
Okay.
You're going to be like this. I don't care how many notes. I thought I was ready. I was like, I got my notes. It's at a football game. It's going down. I walked down those stairs to him. His brother turned around and waved at me and said, "Hey, DJ," I froze. I was like, oh, shit. It's AJ. Oh, God, it's Gary next to him. So he was like, come on, come on, come on. So I went down and I touched his back, and he's like, can you sit down for a second? I was like, yeah, sure. He was talking, and I was like, don't cry, don't cry. And when he got done, that's when I got invited to the New York thing.
Right.
So I took the picture. I walked back up the stairs, uncontrollable crying, just because I had worked so hard at that point. Not hard as everybody else, I get it. But I had put so much into social at that point. I was pot kettle in with social, and this was a social media guru. For me, this was my guy. I said, if I can get to Gary, I can do anything. I said, if I get to Gary, I can do anything. I was like, everything else will be a piece of cake if I can get to Gary. Got to Gary. So in New York, people, it was all like you and me. It was people who were like, all right, shit, this is it. We're in the house with Gary. This is it.
Let's go.
Let's go. So it's 25 of us in the room. He's already asking you questions, telling you how to do your business. We didn't have name tags on or nothing. Okay. He was like, Mike, you should do this. Mike, you should do that. Bop, 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 bop. And we're sitting there, and I was just like, it was just like, yeah, for me, Gary, it's nobody else for me but Gary. Like, I listen to other people, but Gary's the inspiration, because I see him do it all.
Right.
I was like, shit, if he can do it, I can do it.
I think that's the key difference, isn't it? Because he demonstrates every day that he's doing it, and he has all his established businesses and his books, etc. He doesn't set out obviously some salesy based people to make money out of you.
Right, because he's given the things that I've bought from him don't compare with the money he's made me. The sneakers that I've bought, the wine that I've bought, the books, whatever he has coming out, I'm buying, because the money I have made with him is priceless. Yeah, for him being, I gotta tell people, I like that Flipboard. I was like, what else is he doing now? But I'm like, he sits and does his own show. If he can do it, we can do it.
Exactly.
If he sits and goes out an interview, if he can do it, we can do it. So I look at it like, oh, he's doing it, I can do it. So I try, if I'm tired, or if I'm we get tired, we get busy.
Of course.
But I always say, what would Gary do? Would he do this? Would he send out this email? Yes. So Damon, you do it.
Nice. Good. So, do you want to tell us a little bit more about like what your podcasts that you've kind of got on the go? Like what they're
Sure.
about? Like why do you do them? Do they have different purposes, etc.? You know?
Yes. Now, I have two. Open House was my first one, and with Open House, I try to cover real estate, mortgages, people who are in the business, trends that I see coming up in mortgages, houses, things to help your home with upkeep, maintenance. Um, Open House is more focused on real estate, mortgages, decorating, things like that. Now, my Wine Wednesday, a funny story, I didn't even really want to do Wine Wednesday. I was like, I don't know. I want to focus on Open House. But people were like, Damon, do both. Like, why not do
Yeah.
both? So Wine Wednesday, I do every Wednesday, usually at 6 or 7. I've been doing it more at 7 p.m. lately on Eastern. I've been doing it on Facebook, which I looked on StreamYard.
Yes.
Because remember when Gary first started going live on Twitter, it was being live everywhere, and I was like, well, shit, I want that. How do you do that everywhere?
Yeah.
So next week will be the first time I'm doing it through StreamYard to test it out to go everywhere. Wine Wednesday has taken on a life of its own. It's so funny that it was supposed to be Wine Wednesday kind of sprung up out of Corona, where it was like, hey, how are you? Let's have a glass of wine or
I'm so
water or
fat. I'm so
tea.
healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk, let's communicate. What's going on in your world? It got to be of more of a practical me of like, hey, this bottle of wine only costs $10. I tell people on my show, I try not to more than $20 a bottle on a $20 for a bottle of wine. So I try to, give them tips and tricks. Like I went to IKEA like 3 weeks in a row of telling them, hey, don't go on the weekend, go during the week. And this thing's about shopping and wine, and it really has taken on a life of its own. I love them both. They're my two children. I got to do an open house. I think I'm doing one Saturday because open house I'll shoot anywhere. Like open house, I'll get an
Okay.
idea and I'll just start shooting. Whereas the Wine Wednesday, it's more of like a relaxed type of a show.
Nice.
Where as open house, I'll be at a house and go, hey everybody, it's Damon Johnson, DJ Realty Solutions. On today's open house, I'll just start yapping if I see something.
Come on down to 12:15.
Right?
Yeah.
So for open, I love them both. So I can't. They're both so funny to me and they're the same, but they're different. So I love them. It gets me out of my shell a little bit. It makes me be better where I know that I have to talk about something. I can't get on there faking it. And it's going to help. Both of them are going to help me to. I started my Twitch channel
Oh, nice.
that Damon Johnson Shops for Houses, and I'm going to try to move my Twitter audience to Twitch. I tried my Facebook audience; they kind of didn't want to move. So, hence the StreamYard thing. I'm going to start going live with Open House on all channels and say, hey, why don't you follow me to Twitch? So I'm trying to build my Twitch channel out, but at the same time making the Open House and the Wine Wednesday more consistent and stronger.
Yeah, no, I trialed the StreamYard and it like now that I've got some more free time, I need to start doing it like more regularly because even just using StreamYard like to even just go to Facebook, like I got so much like organic.
Really?
The episode like hit like over 1,000, like super like fast.
Wow. Yeah, I looked into it yesterday. I had looked into it before when I first saw it, and then
Yeah.
I kind of like, whatever. But then now I'm like, you know what? I try to do what nobody else is doing. So the other realtors here don't have a show or don't
Right.
post like I post all the time. So I was like, let me do this now while nobody else is doing it. So I'll be ahead. So I'm probably going to end up buying. I'll probably do the premium one, just to test it out over the winter and see how I like it. And
Yeah,
I
especially
spent,
maybe with a little bit more time and stuff, and
yeah, we
people
got more time. I
people
spent
at
more
home.
money on less, so
Yeah,
why not?
nice. And then, so what is your favorite thing about being a podcaster?
Probably. Oh, there's a lot. I don't know. Probably knowing that somebody's listening. I'm not just rambling.
Yeah,
That
that's true. That's a good.
you know, hopefully, I always feel like I'm here to help, or here to make somebody laugh, or here to make somebody think, or here to maybe reinforce what you were thinking, that it's okay to be you because we're all different. So hopefully I'm giving a voice to the voiceless.
Voice
Um,
to the voiceless.
a voice to the voiceless to
Let's go
know
with
that
that.
you can be whatever age you want to be and still do this. It's like Gary says, you're never too late. We're all still learning. Everybody's still early. Um, I'm here to just give a voice to the voiceless. I mean, you don't have to agree with me all the time, but hopefully that you find something in each show that you can be like, oh, I like when he talked about that.
X, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take one thing from the show or the podcast or whatever, hope everybody takes one thing away from each one. That's my goal.
Nice, man. Very cool. Yeah, me too. Me too. Like sometimes, like different episodes interest different people. Like the last one I did, where the guy was from like the Canadian military, so like a very disciplined, like serving the country for the first part of his life, and
Hmm.
now he's like flipped because he retired, and so now he's enjoying the rest of his life, trying out new things each week, and he's adapted the YOLO perspective, and so that's going to pique some people's interest.
Right.
Like this one is, and previous ones I've done. Yeah, no, I would agree with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, just to have a mix because I think that's the purpose of our shows. You do a mix, you bring on different people, you talk about different things. Not everything is going to be for everybody.
No, for sure.
But you kind of want, do all walks of life. He's retired, he was military, he was doing this. This guy did this lady did that. Because we're all, I think, normal, everyday people. We're just doing extraordinary things.
Fantastic. Yes, couldn't agree more. So we're nearly calling it like in film terms that that's a wrap.
Ah,
But before we wrap it up, I'll give you the opportunity to ask me a question or one thing you're curious about me or something that I'm
hmm.
doing, etc., etc.
What do you do in your spare time? I know you spend a lot of time. I know putting the show together is a time
Temperature Rick?
What do you do? Walk me through your day.
Oh, like an average day?
Yeah, walk me through
Okay,
your
sure.
average day.
Well, I have I'll do my best because I have a very flexible work schedule, so it
Okay.
fluctuates a lot. But I probably get up between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. because like we were talking before the show, I go to bed way too late because I work a lot later. So
It's
I've definitely
okay.
changed. I used to work at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m., but now I don't work before 10 a.m. So I tend to like a little bit of a lie-in. And so then I get up, and what I should be doing, the way I get on the most productive is I have a notebook and I write what I need to achieve in the day, whether that's errands, housework, hanging with my friend, etc. And then I cross each one like off as I'm kind of doing it. Makes me feel good and I'm the most productive. So then the first thing I always do after having a shower is grab some breakfast. So beans on toast, cereal. I go to the gym on Tuesdays at 8:30 a.m. So have to have a good breakfast that day. I definitely one of the first things I do is I grab a cup of tea.
Yes.
I flick through my like social media as I'm eating breakfast and maybe a little bit when I initially like wake up. So breakfast is over, put that away. Then sometimes I go to work if I'm working at like 10 a.m. or I go to the gym on Tuesdays. And then if not, then if it's later in the week, I try and get my editing like done earlier in the day when there's like less people online and that sort of thing. I don't feel like I'm missing out as much. Try and catch up on my tea with my emails, that type of thing. Then eat lunch. I don't know, 12 to 1 roughly. And then in the afternoon, I might hang out with my friends or do some social media promotion, or I find the afternoon is a really good time to like plan your content ahead and that type of thing. I don't know, just early afternoon, people are at work, less distractions, and I find you really need to like capitalize on like the evenings at like 7 to like 9:30, like 10 when more people are around.
Hmm.
Fine, so I do some of that, hang out with my friends, and I don't know. The afternoon goes, time moves fast, and then I probably eat dinner anywhere between 5 and 7, depending on the day. I'm gonna try and start doing some more social media lives in the evenings, like on my days off, to reach different people at different times. I'm gonna try to use StreamYard more. Yeah, so that's kind of an average day, and then obviously mixed in with like gotta do your dishes, gotta wash your sheets, gotta
Yes,
do
the
house
housework.
plans, which takes like a long time.
Yes, I gotta do the housework is a thing. Oh boy, you never notice until now, where yeah, the housework has become a thing.
So that type of thing. So I'm just trying to really get that like balance between doing things that I love and then also the day-to-day realities of a life. But there's one thing that's always consistent regardless of the day and like what's going on. There's always a ton of tea in a day.
Always a ton of tea. What's your favorite tea?
So favorite tea is definitely Yorkshire tea. I'm surprised they haven't hired me yet. You know, like I'm always talking about them because I get asked this question obviously a lot. It's a really simple, strong black tea. Add a little bit of milk, not too much, and yeah, it's just good.
You
Solid.
gotta ask. Have you sent them? You gotta send them an email like, "Hi, let me tell you what I do and why you should partner with me."
No, that's actually quite valid because maybe I should start to like tracking the data on social media, the amount of times
Yeah, why not?
that I've
I mean,
mentioned them, and then how many people it's reached, and so on, and that type of thing.
having a sponsor is fine. I'm looking for sponsors now, so yeah. And you find yourself talking about the same company because you use the same stuff over and over
Right.
again. Like this wine I love is a company called Stella. They sent me a like back on Twitter, and I was like, oh, little do you know, for Wine Wednesday, you're gonna sponsor me. You don't. Yeah, he's supposed to
Like
come
the
here. Yeah,
Edmonton, that would be
you
super
guys are doing
high.
better
Like
than we are. We can't stay in the house. We aren't following directions here. I'm following directions. I try to only go to a couple places and work.
yeah,
I go to show houses, the grocery, and home. That's
yeah,
it. That's usually on three places, the two places that I go. That's it.
yeah. I know. Yeah, yeah, that's something hopefully to look forward to in like 2021. Actually, like with
Yeah,
him.
it'll
It,
happen. It'll happen. He'll do it. He'll rebook and he'll do it because they need that company needs the space needs the business, so they're gonna be like, yes, please
Yeah.
come.
And he's already said like in multiple things that he's done that he's like definitely coming and
Coming, yeah,
like he was fast to rebook a date considering what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's good
yeah,
business obviously for him and like the company Trickstar that he's like partnering with and obviously also the venue because they're probably going to be pretty close to sold out.
yeah. It'll be sold out. It'll be good for everybody.
Yeah, and we're just going. He said in his own words that we're just going to jam it out backstage before he goes on. That's how,
Woohoo! Have to charge your phone. Be like,
yeah, yeah. I've got the story between. I'm not going to spoil it now because but the story between me and Mr. Gary Vee is far from over. I'll leave it at that. I have
oh yeah,
ideas.
I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whatever you got going on, keep doing it. Get them. I tell people you can get them, get them. It's like he's life changing.
Yeah, so my top podcast like before we wrap up my podcast has really like taken off recently. Like in the last
Nice.
probably like month, and like like that short 6 minute clip that I just did with him, like just passed like 200 plays, and
Nice.
like the audience retention rate is like basically 100 for the entire like 6 minutes because people are so captivated on the conversation.
Oh yeah, when the video I had with him, if it's ever a lag in my social, I go, oh, let me put this video back on.
Oh
This
yeah,
will reel him
well,
back.
boom. That's a good
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, if my socials ever lagging a couple months, I go, let me re-put this back out. This will reel them back in. Because we have something that nobody else has, a connection with him. So a lot of people can't say that. And we've worked for it. We were in the right place at the right time, the right podcast, right email, right phone call. He sees something in us. So I try to always remember post, 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 post. Be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice, be nice.
And that's a great way to end the episode. So thank you once again for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. When this comes out, I'm going to blast it like never before.
I'm excited, man.
Me too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. And guys, this was episode 95 of the Tea with Mike show with Damon. Damon obviously was amazing, and I hope you're still watching this right to the very end on my website, teawithmike.com. Don't go and watch some cat meme videos now. If you really enjoyed this conversation, leave a comment below the episode. And if you still have time on your hands, feel free to watch any of the episodes on my website. Thanks for supporting me, and definitely check out what Damon's doing. The links will be at the bottom of this video. Thanks, Damon.
Thank you.
You too, man. It's the Tea with Mike show.